Hi, I'm Radical Coder. This is Umbreon. And real quick, before we dive in, if you want to make sure this little dude stays fed and warm, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let me know in the comments what I got right, what I got wrong, or what you want to argue about. Let's go.
Well, how about we allow the guests to go first, the opposing, and hear their reasons, and then you go with yours, and we'll go from there.
All right, then pick the first person.
Ryan, lead the show, honey.
Fair enough. Hey, everyone. So I spent some time preparing an opening statement for tonight, on and off, and I ended up deciding to just kind of speak from the heart here, especially since leading up to this, if you just watched some of the preamble to this, we had a very human background conversation, and I appreciate that. At the end of the day, we are, I believe, all American citizens here. What we're here to talk about tonight is the invocation of the Insurrection Act. Now, in the United States of America, we have something called posse comitatus. This basically means that the United States military does not enforce the laws on the ground in America. We have police who do. The one exception to this is the invocation of the Insurrection Act. Now, the last time this was invoked was in 1992 during the LA riots, after nearly 60 people had been killed already. Thousands of buildings were burned down. Thousands of people had been injured, and on the ground, the police were literally were incapable of enforcing the laws. It was a massive disaster, and perhaps an understandable situation to deploy the military. Before that was Little Rock during desegregation, where the National Guard, or I believe it was the National Guard, was deployed to enforce desegregation, right? Because the governor had refused a federal court order. Nothing that I just described is happening right now. I think there are a lot of incidents of violence. There's a lot of civil unrest. There are people who are attempting to resisting ICE enforcing the laws, or doing what is allegedly enforcing the laws. There's some controversy around that, especially since the courts are sometimes right now ruling against the Trump administration and what ICE is doing, which does speak to the courts working. People who are engaging in violence against ICE and otherwise are being arrested. Okay. They're being charged. This is all happening right now. The system is working. It is it is scary. Sorry, I'm almost done.
No, I was just gonna say let's wrap up the opening statements.
I'm wrapping it up.
Don't about 2 minutes, and then
sorry.
No, you're doing great.
2 minutes. Okay. Apologies. Invoking the Insurrection Act and putting the U.S. military on the ground to enforce laws against U.S. citizens is a very scary thing, and I'm hoping that tonight my opposition will engage with the gravitas of what they are encouraging the President of the United States to do, and just how I want them to consider how they'll feel if after this they see the phone videos coming out, because sometimes police officers have to kill people, right? So when the phone videos inevitably come out of the U.S. military shooting a civilian, justified or otherwise, this is going to create so much more unrest, and this is going to be such a terrifying escalation in an already extremely turmoil moment in American history.
Yes,
I want everyone to consider just how I make sure that we have a very high bar, which there always has been, for something like the Insurrection Act, and I'll leave it there.
And the powdered Dusty.
There we go.
So the objective with how to approach the situation for any government official involved should be to restore peace and squash the tension and the conflict. Even though it is, in my understanding, well within Trump's legal rights to issue the Insurrection Act, which basically has no restrictions on when the president can announce it. It's not useful to those ends. It's much more likely to exacerbate than to subdue, and there's no reason that the states couldn't get this done if it once. On top of exacerbating the people who are already upset, it'll create more tension between the federal government and the state. So this move would be inflammatory in many directions, and I think that right now in the political climate that our country's in, it's just unwise. It's just flat out unwise to send in military. That's it.
Okay. Now let's go to Trippy Cass and then Rob Noerr. On the pros.
Am I late on doing something? Do I keep forgetting to take you guys down? Sorry about that.
Yes, I don't have any control of this. Otherwise, I would be doing like the duels and,
I should have stuck you in there, but I missed the last part. I was up walking around. I had to go grab a pack of cigars.
Okay, well, he just gave his opening statement of why the Insurrection Act would be bad.
Yeah.
Well, it's all right. I was listening, Trippy. We'll be good.
Okay. Well, I thought, I was like, well, it's going to be Potter Dusty. He's going to be talking about his butt or something for like an hour. So I'll just get up and go grab my cigars.
Now that you mention it.
Yeah. So who's up next? Me?
You are up next. The pros, if Trump was to use it, or if there are any pros, any countering arguments to our other two gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, I'll pull up my own face. I think it could both be a good thing and a bad thing, but mostly a good thing, especially in states where they're just running amok. They're burning shit down. They're lighting fires. I said the same thing twice. They're throwing fireworks at cops. We've seen that in the past already, in like the Summer of Love in 2020. They were using different types of fireworks to try to deafen and blind cops temporarily. It's just they're trying to do an insurrection already, so why not invoke the act and give them a little bit of that fear of God? And mine was very short, and we'll bring Rob up.
That's fine.
Rob. Okay. Thank you. I'll cam up in a minute once my wife's here to take my son, but I don't want him on cam. If you hear someone yelling in the background, it's either him or the arguments against me were so devastating I'm screaming. One or the other. Insurrection Act. I'm glad Dusty admitted there were two ways to go about this debate. The first is the legality of it. Absolutely, it's legal to declare the insurrection. 1 second, buddy. It's absolutely legal to declare the Insurrection Act. So now let's move on to the case of whether or not they should do it. Absolutely, they should. Ryan makes a huge mistake right out of the gate when it says that the only time posse comitatus means that when it comes to federal officials, federal law, the only time that they would be able to enforce the law is in declaring the Insurrection Act. Fundamentally untrue. In fact, we have an FBI and we have federal law enforcement, which are specially tasked with adhering or with enforcing federal law. Now, the federal law that's going to be at the heart of the matter here is immigration enforcement, which clearly the founding fathers entailed that it was the federal government that had the right to decide who comes within our borders. The reason that the Insurrection Act should be declared is because state governments are refusing to allow federal law enforcement to do their job and enforce their constitutionally protected duty of enforcing immigration law. It is a danger to these federal officers. Ryan talks about how will we feel when videos comes out of federal officers that actually end up using violence. How did Ryan feel when some lefty shot and killed 2 detainees in an attempt to kill ICE officers, and the videos we see on a daily basis of ICE officers being attacked? No, there isn't enough being done against them. And in fact, what we see is quite the opposite. According to local news source just yesterday, effective immediately by the direction of Government Pritzker, by the way of the Cook County Chief Judge Timothy Evans, ICE and Border Patrol agents are banned from making civil arrest of aliens at Chicago courts. This is directly against 10 USC 252, part of the Insurrection Act, which says whenever the president considers the unlawful obstructions, combinations, or assemblages or rebellion against the authority of the United States make it impractical to enforce the laws of the United States in any state by the ordinary course of judicial proceedings, he may call in the federal service of such militia, etc., etc. So it is imperative that we invoke the Insurrection Act Act because state governments in places like Illinois and California are refusing to allow federal authorities to enforce the federal law and are insisting that they not be protected by local authorities. Therefore, we need to enforce the Insurrection Act for the safety of ICE officials who are being attacked more and more every day. I look forward to get more into it, though.
Hell yeah. And I actually got the mouse to the right spot on the screen in a reasonable amount of time. Hooray. Self-win. Also, yeah. So, hey, wait a minute. We got Nova on mute saying things into the microphone.
I was trying to stay quiet so that way he could talk and there'd be no noise. Sorry. I said that's one hell of a counter argument, and you gentlemen get prepared to battle it out blood sport style. Are you prepared?
You can always just do that.
All right.
So we're on the screen and we hear the voices.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
No, I don't think people would be that interested. Okay. All right. So, which of you gentlemen would like to go first?
Yeah, so the first thing I'll do is clarify when I said what I don't know if maybe I misspoke, but what I meant to say was that the military would be enforcing the laws. We're not talking about the FBI enforcing laws. I'm talking about the United States military as in armed service members going and enforcing civilian laws, and that just so clarity there. As for the court situation, that is one specific area where ICE is unable to make arrests. That does not mean that they are not able to carry out their jobs in any other area. In fact, the DHS was just bragging about how the feds, how ICE has arrested over 1,500 people via Operation Midway Blitz over the past month. So clearly, they are able to do what they are out there to do.
It's not true. So how would you feel
if DHS is lying?
It's not true in this sense. They're not able to do what they do if state governments are actively protecting. For example, in California right now, they just adhered $25 million to an emergency fund that they've declared a state of emergency to help illegals, help their families, help them with finances, help them with legal aid, etc. They're refusing to cooperate with federal authorities, and when federal authorities are being attacked, they're not providing adequate backup. Let me ask you this, Ryan. What are the laws that you're saying the military would be enforcing that are civilian laws or for local law enforcement? What are the ones enforcing that you would have a problem with?
Well, it would all depend on what they're assigned to do. After, first of all, a proclamation has to be filed, right, by the president to invoke the Insurrection Act, and then after people don't disperse, assuming they don't, then whatever laws are they're being instructed to carry out. This all depends on the nature of the Trump.
So presumably, it seems that it's being suggested that it would be declared to protect federal authorities.
Potentially. But,
okay, so is your argument if the state is incapable or unwilling to protect mobs that are going against federal authorities, that it would be wrong to send people like the National Guard to defend them?
Are there people who are assaulting officers who are not being arrested? And can you identify
that is absolutely occurring. Yes, there's litanies of them.
Are you sure about this?
Yes, I can show you video after video. I can show you
me video of people assaulting officers who are then not being arrested?
That is correct.
I've seen tons of videos of people getting arrested.
Sure, there are some that are arrested. There's some that get away with it. Would you like me to show you video?
So some people are escaping, is what you're saying?
Sure. Well, escaping, or the police are incapable of protecting.
So, Rob, you agree the police are arresting people if they're capable of it, right?
No, not necessarily. We have
police
plenty of evidence that
police are standing by and watching.
Correct. We have correct. We have plenty of we have plenty of evidence, for example, in places like Portland, that police have stood down and done absolutely nothing. For example, there's video of Katie Davis-Court getting smacked in the face and getting a black eye the other day. The police caught up exactly to the girl that did it, said, "You're being detained." The girl said, "You can't detain me, I'm underage," and the cop went and left her walk away. Yes, this happens quite frequently.
There's case law that shows that police are not obligated to protect the general public. So certainly you'd think that federal agents who are coming in on the offensive would be able to look after themselves.
No, not if they get overwhelmed, right? This is why the National Guard was deployed to LA in the first place. We saw the riots that were occurring, which by the definition of the people that invoked Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to keep Trump off the ballot in Colorado, and they said that January 6th was an insurrection, the metrics they used to define insurrection, and I debated over and over again, we are literally seeing nightly insurrections occur. Nightly, when we're talking about invoking the Insurrection Act. And what we see is places like California and Illinois, instead of saying we need to get to the bottom of stopping these insurrections, saying we need to aid these people, and how dare ICE be here? Now, I want you to put the shoe in the other foot. Imagine that federal authorities were trying to arrest January 6 people in red states, and we saw riots attacking those federal authorities, and the governors of those red states said, there are certain areas that we don't allow you to go, FBI, to arrest these January 6ers, and in fact, we're declaring a state of emergency to help those January 6ers.
Certainly.
Real quick, I think you're playing very fast and loose when you make that analogy, because we're not talking about safe spots for the people who are assaulting ICE officers. We're talking about safe spots for people who are undocumented immigrants, to be clear, right?
We're talking about safe spots for people that are being targeted legitimately for federal law enforcement. And it doesn't matter. The analogy isn't necessarily safe spots for the people attacking. It's safe spots for the January 6ers.
The January 6ers were the ones attacking. The January 6ers were the ones attacking.
No, not afterwards.
So if people went after them to arrest them for what the crimes they did.
Let's assume Dusty was at January 6th, right? And he goes back, I don't know where you're from, Dusty. Let's assume you're from Alabama, right? So he goes back to Alabama, and the federal authorities are like, we're coming to Dusty's house to arrest him. And Dusty shelters up in a state courthouse, and this governor of Alabama is a right-winger and says,
again,
nope,
not comparable, because the safe spots are for illegal immigrants, not for people who are engaging in insurrection or whatever, as you put it.
It does not matter. The reason that we're saying, the reason that it matters would be this, that the people attacking federal law enforcement to protect Dusty would be engaged in an insurrection. Right?
Yeah, because they'd be going against the government.
Yes.
Right. So,
I could give you the criteria from Bowdoin Paulson.
The legal criteria is there. Well, there actually really is no legal criteria, except the president just determines that this counts. So legally, the right is there, but is it wide? Is it a good decision? Absolutely not. I don't know why. What? Let me ask you this: why was it a good decision for federal agencies to go pursue illegal immigrants in country or in states where they're not wanted and where these aren't even border states? It's not like they have a current problem with bringing in more illegal aliens.
Okay, first, if you don't mind me answering with a question, I know it's bad form.
Let's do one-on-one. Gentlemen, 1 second. Prepare the screen.
Yeah, no problem.
Sure.
I will figure that out very slowly.
Oh, okay. In the meantime, talk.
All right. And so I'll just say this, right? You do agree it's the purview of the federal government to enforce immigration law, correct?
Yes.
So if a state such as California says we disagree, we want to allow these people here, that's irrelevant. The federal government's
if the federal government is doing a dramatic change in their approach to enforcing the laws, that's bad leadership. That's bad management.
You might say that. I think it's bad management that we've let dozens of millions of illegals in here. So I think that was bad management, and I think turning that around and enforcing the law is good management. Nonetheless, so to answer your question, once you agree with that, yes, it would not matter if it's in the heart of America. I don't give a shit if it's a completely insulated state like Nebraska. Of course, I want the feds enforcing immigration law there. The idea that because they get to a state that's not a border state, then we should no longer enforce it is nonsensical. Not to mention that maybe many of these people that are being deported, in addition to just being, the laws should be enforced anyways because that's the immigration law, many of them are members of gangs or people that have engaged in violence that the state governments have allowed slip
Many
through
of them
their fingers.
are not as well. Of course, they're going to promote the ones that are, for sure.
Sure, but let's say I could concede. We'll say some are, some aren't. Forget the percentages. Doesn't matter.
Let's say most of them are.
Okay, let's say that for the sake of argument. I don't know that that's true, but let's say nonetheless, the law should be enforced to all of these people. And why would we say that the feds would not be allowed to go into these states if it's clear that they're ones that even you're admitting are hardcore criminals that the state government's incapable or unwilling to detain?
Well, there are hardcore criminals everywhere. You could throw a dart at a map and there would be a criminal.
Nonetheless, your point was, why would we accept federal authorities? Why would we want them to enforce immigration law in non-border states?
If you acknowledge that there are criminals everywhere in the world, right? And now all of a sudden we have ICE choosing to enforce these across the country in a way that we've never been done before. That's an aggressive act by the federal government against states, against the states' wishes, and it's purely antagonistic.
It's not antagonistic, right? Enforcing the federal law isn't antagonistic. And again, let's assume, I just want to be clear. If ICE was an agency that found through their investigations of a criminal cartel that was smuggling people in, that a member of ISIS had been smuggled in and was in California. And the government of California is like, we just don't cooperate with ICE. And ICE went in there and arrested this member of ISIS planning a terror attack. Your argument is no, they shouldn't do that because that member of ISIS, let me finish,
God,
that
let me
member
back
of
in.
ISIS
Let me
made
fucking
it to
back
a
in. Jesus
non-border
Christ.
state. So therefore
No.
we shouldn't care.
Nope. My argument is
breaking the
that
law.
that's
and also
terrorism. Is
California would work
DHS,
with them if they had evidence that he was
thing.
ISIS.
It's not an immigration. At this point, that person, their immigrant status, not really even doesn't matter at all. What matters is that they're planning terrorist attacks, and so that needs to be stopped and that needs to be picked up. But their immigrant status is.
You say it's DH. I want you to take a guess. ICE operates under which agency?
I'm sorry, it's FBI. FBI is who's in charge.
No, I don't think that the FBI is the sole. You don't think the DHS also works on anti-terror investigations?
I don't think that ICE is primarily responsible for investigating terrorism.
Well, it might not be primarily, but certain in the course of law enforcement, if they come to find that there are actual terrorists, why would we? The point I'm trying to make is it's clear that your argument that it's somehow different if ICE is enforcing getting rid of illegals in Texas, that's somehow different than California because California doesn't directly border Mexico, which, by the way, isn't true. It does, I believe, at the southern part.
Well, I said not all of them.
Okay, so then
Oregon, Illinois.
Okay.
Right.
But,
So
but
these
there's
are-
that distinction doesn't matter. Who cares?
It does.
Why
matter
does it
because-
matter? So you're okay with ICE in Texas, just to be clear.
No, but I think that they've got a better justification for it because it is a border state. So you can say that.
I don't know what's.
I mean, if Texas is making the problem worse actively in the moment, that's different than the status quo. The fact of the matter is, for my whole life, your whole life, we've had pretty lax ICE enforcement. For Trump.
Agreed.
Right. So for Trump to just all of a sudden go, hey, we're coming to all your states, whether you like it or not, that's a dramatic change in policy. It's aggressive and it's overreach.
Do you think that if you were an illegal, that you would be more willing to go to a state to settle in that claimed to want to support you and call themselves
They're
a
protecting
sanctuary
Rob
state?
from me, dude. This is wild.
So do you think that if you're a federal government trying to deport illegals, that the best place and most likely place to go to find them would be these very sanctuary states?
Yes.
So then your only argument seems to be here, well, hey, I want these illegals to stay because we've always let them stay, and it's radical to now enforce the law that's on the books.
My argument is that there are proper ways to start.
There are legal battles. There are legal battles happening right now.
And having federal
he's asserting
agents
all this stuff is
kick
like
the door
already
in
settled.
on
It's not.
states that don't want them there is not a good way to do it. It's an antagonistic way to do it.
So what should they have done?
It's going to create more problems than it's going to solve.
What should they have
What
done?
should they have done? They should have they should start slowly restricting and increasing enforcement of immigration laws over time. They shouldn't just.
What does that mean?
What do you mean? What's that mean?
Okay,
we
so
have not been enforcing these laws,
Okay.
but we want to start enforcing them.
Okay, so
We can
I'm Trump's
gradually turn up the
administration.
heat.
I'm Trump's administration. I just watched the previous administration
this is
let millions
ridiculous.
upon millions
Let me
of
back
illegals
in.
and not enforce immigration law. So I have 4 years to try to do something. Your argument
Yeah,
is
that's wrong.
I should come in
I'm
and
not
Trump's
writing stuff down,
administration say, listen, California, Illinois, we want to gradually start enforcing immigration laws. They say, no thanks. Now what do I do?
Well, you started with it at the border. You as the president and in charge of federal agencies, you do what you're chartered to do. What you don't
Enforce
do is
immigration laws. Correct. That's
At
what
the
you're
border.
chartered to do. That's part of the law.
you have no
else?
ability. You have no ability to think in nuance, do you, or to understand the kind of the give
I
and
do.
take?
You're looking at it in the
the
inverse.
diplomacy. In America, we've got states' rights, we've got federal rights.
Let me ask you this, Dusty.
It's a big complex system that works on checks and balances, and you just want. And it seems like you want a king.
Okay, let me ask you this.
True,
Do you think
yes.
that
He
there
wants
are
a
members
king.
of
He wants a
Congress
king.
that deal
Hammer
in
down on
insider
that.
trading?
Yeah.
Do you think that's something? I think we would both agree that's something we would like to be enforced.
Well, you're not gonna get with Trump.
Do you agree that it's hardly ever enforced?
Yes.
So if we elect, I don't know who your ideal president would be, but let's say we elect Rand Paul, and he's like, you know what, my first act, fuck it. We're aggressively going after the Congress people that we know of insider trading. Your argument would be, no, because we have never enforced those laws, so you can't just go
Nope.
after people. You would have to be very gradual in how you went
Nope.
after it.
It is
Explain.
It is an entirely different PR position.
There would be court
Yes,
cases. People would have due process.
So
You
the
would be
argument-
charged.
You don't think that the sentiment of the American public watching what their government's doing, you don't think that matters?
Of course it matters, right?
Okay.
And if they don't like it, then they could go to the ballot box and they could vote to change the law. But both scenarios are analogous in this. There are laws on the book, right? In both cases, the government have ignored the laws on the book. In both
Right.
cases, someone would run on promising to enforce those laws. In both cases, they come in and say, okay, it's time to start enforcing. And in one case, you say, of course we should do that. And the other, you say, no, we shouldn't because a lot of people don't like that. Fuck it. I don't care. The law is the law. If those people don't like it, then they could vote to change the law.
What is the objective?
Nice guy mode
what
is turned off,
your
by the way.
objective with the situation? You just want all laws enforced, or is there a bigger picture here? All laws enforced no matter what?
I want our illegal immigration laws enforced and the illegals to be removed from the country. That's what I voted for.
Regardless of whether or not it creates other issues, it creates civil unrest.
If
Exactly. He doesn't care.
If
Exactly.
other people decide, you tell me. Then what else should we do? So if the left decides to riot every time they don't get their way, then the right should never do anything that they'll be willing to riot over.
No, I don't think that this is the right issue, and I don't think that this is a very, very predictable situation. It's actually, this situation is guaranteed.
Yep.
Do you remember when the
Guaranteed.
Insurrection Act was declared against Governor Wallace for integrating schools?
I don't remember.
Yes.
I wasn't
After
there.
federal court orders.
You know that occurred.
Yes.
Okay. Would you say that forcing integration was something that was likely to inspire a lot of anger and violence?
Yes.
So therefore,
Don't
we
have
should have done
federal
it,
court
correct?
orders in this case.
That's my opinion. I don't think that it
You
should
don't
be
think?
enforced.
So you don't think that we should have enforced integration?
I don't think that we should have bused black students to white schools and enforced it
Busing's
that way now.
different. Busing's different. The question was allowing black students into white public schools.
Again, I think that I would have, if it were me, and this is not really the point of the debate, but I would have just removed the laws without enforcing the integration part. Yeah, I think.
So just to be clear, you would have said the federal law would have said, look, if you're a public school, you can't discriminate based on race. We both agree that should be our tax dollars shouldn't be allowed to white-only spaces.
I thought it was a
correct?
2v2.
Okay. But you just wouldn't enforce it. The schools would say, "Fuck
She's
you." We're not
protecting
going to be
Trippy
blacks,"
and
you would
Rob
have
right
said,
now.
Okay.
I wouldn't force it. I would enforce it, but not force it. What they did is force it.
Wait.
No.
Explain the difference between enforcing the law and forcing.
They enforced it.
Enforcing means you prevent the school administrators from breaking the law.
That's what they did.
Which is what they did,
Wallace
yes.
refused to allow black.
Enforce it means that you bus in black students. So I was.
So you're telling me that it was a forced busing issue. It wasn't that there were black students that lived in the area and wanted to go to that school.
There absolutely were.
I don't know for sure because I
There
wasn't
were.
but the impression I'm
so
under
mad,
is that
dude.
they brought in black students to white schools and that created conflict. I wouldn't have created that conflict to prove a point.
It would. I don't think that's the case. But even if it was, it would have been inevitable in a very short amount of time, right? That once integration in public spaces was the law of the land, that there would have been blacks that, if you just took them to the nearest school, would have been schools that were predominant, that were always white. You agree with that?
Right.
And in that situation, if the governor said, nope, we're not allowing this, you would have sent in the National Guard and have used the Insurrection Act.
Then that's when you that's when you enforce it. Then I think.
But you don't have any clue if that's what happened or not.
No, I don't. I wasn't there. This isn't the point of the topic of the debate. You're asking me to speculate about something that happened 50 years ago.
The reason that this matters is because you talked about the need to not do things, even if they are enforcing the law, if there are segments of the population that would be angry about it and maybe use violence.
Is the law always right?
No.
So why is that your only priority is enforcing something that you acknowledge can be wrong?
It's not my only priority. My priority, regardless, if I had to vote right now, if we as a country had voted for open borders and that was the law of the land, I would want to vote for not open borders, right? Now, luckily for me, that's already what the law has been. So there is a law on the books that I want enforced, that lawfully should be enforced. And one of the reasons, so that's the reason that I want it, because it's a law that I care for and think that should be enforced, that would make things better for the country, and it's already the law. But let me turn the question to you, right? Do you think that political violence and political terrorism is a bad thing?
Yes.
What about
Good question,
political
Eva. Good
terrorism
question.
itself is uniquely bad?
Unique amongst other violence?
Yes. Like, so example, it's bad if I stab you for money, but there seems to be something uniquely bad if I stab you for a political reason. Why?
I disagree that.
Well, let me explain and you tell me if you agree or not. Because when we allow people to change the course of our laws through violence, that's uniquely bad because it encourages other people that are unhappy with the law to say we too will use violence, correct?
Correct.
We'll just do it this
So
way.
then I'll finish with this. So then your argument that we can't enforce immigration laws that are on the book because people will act in violence is giving in to political terrorism.
If you have states and communities that have massive illegal immigrant populations because we have not been enforced, because the government's been lax on enforcing those laws, and you go in one day against the local community's wishes, yes, that's really not on them.
I
That's
think
on
maybe
and by the way, there is also a lot of controversy about whether or not they are actually just enforcing the law, because courts keep ruling against the way they're carrying out their jobs.
It doesn't matter, and the courts.
Of course, it fucking matters.
Show me one time
matter.
show me one time it's made it to the Supreme Court and they've upheld those court decisions.
I mean, these are still a lot of these things are pending because it's happening in real time. Like I said,
in real time, what we have is what we
have in real time is ICE is carrying out what they're trying to do. They are arresting people. They're successfully doing it. The DHS is bragging about it. They are successfully doing their job, and police are arresting people. They're charging people. The courts are ruling. The system is working as it should, and you're demanding that we invoke the Insurrection Act despite all that. Why?
What we see in real time is the courts are being activist and ruling decisions that they absolutely 100%.
No, it's rulings you disagree with. You're alleging they're activists because you don't like the rulings. You don't like the rulings. You call them activists.
I understand.
You're a crybaby.
I understand the need to spurg out, right?
Bro, you've been talking for the past 10 minutes. I haven't even got to be up here.
So what? When you get a one-on-one, you'll get to talk for 10 minutes, and I won't have the opportunity to interrupt you. You made a point. I'm responding.
Who doesn't even know what the Insurrection Act is.
You made a point, and now you're spurging out. That's what you're doing. I'm the only person who's read from the Insurrection Act here.
Bullshit. I literally spent the past 3 days reading it.
We read it this morning on stream.
Well, he may have read it for the first time, but I've been studying.
You're the one that made the claim that the only time the feds can enforce the law is through posse comitatus.
Did not say that. I said the military. I said the military.
You fucking rube. Anyways, the point.
What do you mean rube? Wait. Do you deny that? Even if I said the feds, you acknowledged that as soon as the debate started, I clarified, even if I had misspoken earlier, right?
Okay.
You acknowledge that?
Nonetheless, I
think he does not acknowledge clarification.
Which I don't think that I misspoke, by the way. I'm pretty sure I said the military. I think you actually misheard, but that's fine.
Okay, nonetheless, we can see that these are activist courts, and there is no understanding of the law.
That's just an assertion. You have no evidence that they're activist courts. You just disagree with the rulings. You're such a fucking baby.
I'm going to refuse to speak while people interrupt me. I don't give a fuck.
Cool, that's fine. Awesome. Then that means I get to talk more, right? Okay. Cool. So again, the system is working. Police are arresting people. Even the ones who assault officers, they're being arrested. People are being charged. People who are committing crimes are being arrested. The system is working as it's supposed to. The Insurrection Act is for when the system is not working, okay? That's how it's always been used. The last time it was used, there were at least 60 people dead, thousands of buildings on fire, thousands of people injured, and this is completely incomparable. And you brought up the Little Rock situation. That was when the governor was explicitly refusing federal court orders. Show me an example of a governor explicitly refusing a federal court order. You can't.
I do believe, didn't the governor of California do that? I believe that was one, didn't he?
I don't believe so. I believe that he denied ICE, and they're trying to pass a no face mask law or something like that, ironically.
Interesting. After they made everybody do it.
Ironically, but appropriately, right? Criminals wear masks and hide their face.
Yeah, crazy that when there's a deadly disease that kills 1 million Americans, people want you to wear a mask, but when you're kidnapping people off the street and deporting them to a concentration camp in a foreign country with no due process, people don't want you to wear a mask. It's so insane. What a crazy double standard we're living under.
Well, I do believe organizations and people on the street who are terrorizing government officials trying to do their jobs, those are considered terrorist acts, honey, and those are also considered terrorist groups.
Cool. Local police can handle that, as they are. Local police engage with domestic terrorism all the time.
Look, the reason why the people that are in ICE need masks is because the people on your side, Ryan, like to dox them and find their home address and then threaten their family.
Just like you guys are doing with Antifa and people who make fun of Charlie Kirk.
For a second, you can stop for a second because Antifa is not a government organization. They do not need to be wearing masks.
Wait,
Rob's on mute.
they're
I don't know
citizens
if
who
he's
don't want to be
addressing.
identified, so it's perfectly reasonable for them not to
No,
wear
they
masks.
shouldn't,
What do you mean?
because in each state, most states, there's a law on the books that says that you are not allowed to walk around in public wearing a mask.
Correct.
Did
I
we
don't think
forget
that's
about
true,
this?
actually.
Yes, it is.
The law enforcement agents need to be held to higher standards of transparency and self-restraint than the
Absolutely.
general public, because they have a monopoly on the use of violence. So to say that federal agents who are rushing in with AR-15s places should cover their faces so they don't get doxxed is absurd. If somebody's scared of getting doxxed, they need to find a different job.
So is
And
fucking
also,
Rob. Oh, like, am I supposed to be
DHS
the one level one?
hold-
No, fuck that.
And DHS needs to stop doxing people who are protesting. I'm looking right now on X.
Like, Rob's literally talking to his audience so that he can't hear anything we say right now.
A college professor in Kansas and talking about him for doxing, because he
Yeah, I was literally
doxed
fucking
or
silenced
giving
for 10
instructions on how to
minutes.
dox ICE agents. The irony and double standard is absurd, and it reduces the public's confidence in their institutions.
Well, he can, if he's out there breaking the law, if he was arrested, his personal
not
information
It's a
will be
3v2.
put out
It's
there
obviously
on a public
3v2. It
website.
always was going to be.
He's
So
not
what's
breaking the law,
the-
and he has not been arrested.
So there's no law on any books that's against doxing.
I'm sure there's a law somewhere, but he has not broken the
Not
law.
really.
He has not been arrested. He is getting doxxed because, well, DHS is accusing him of doxing. How are we supposed to take the doxing seriously from civilians if we allow our own law enforcement to do it? It's absurd.
I can hear you typing over there, Nova.
Sorry.
If
I'm answering something.
if I was on the internet and I doxed you or Rob or Radical Coder or Nova,
It's not a crime.
how would you personally fight against it?
I would dox you back.
Exactly. So the government
Right,
does that,
but-
and that's like super bad.
Yes,
Yes, dude.
Not really
Yeah,
all that
government
bad.
overreach.
absolutely.
Yeah, literally.
Before we go too deep, Ryan, you got a question in the form of a donation from Sean Whelan. I missed. I don't know if I read it. He says, "Does Ryan support JFK using the National Guard against Governor Wallace?" Oh, that was actually what you and Rob were, what
Little
Rob
Rock.
and
Yeah, yes,
Dusty
yes,
were talking
I do.
about.
Yes, because he was
He said
defying a
to-
federal court order to enforce integration of schools, and there's no comparable situation right now. And Rob, whenever he decides to stop being a crybaby, because I know it's been a few times, it was just hilarious coming from him. Whenever he's done being a fucking baby about that, he can clarify why he thinks there is some example of that, which he won't be able to because there isn't one.
All right, Rob, you okay over there? He's just chit chatting with his chat. That's fine. But yeah, like I didn't know, Dusty, about the professor doing the doxing and then being doxed by the government. But I will bring up: don't SWAT teams get to wear masks when they have to go into someone's home? And that's also a way to protect their identity from, people.
I mean,
around
some of them do. They didn't when I got raided.
witnessing. Yeah, some of them do. Some
I
of them
don't. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it should be illegal for people to wear masks, right? I don't think it should be the standard. I don't think that it should be encouraged or standardized, though. I do think it's right to be suspicious of law enforcement agents that are masked, just as I think it's suspicious when how like police vehicles now are. It's like black with dark gray lettering, right? The camouflaging of law enforcement implies they're up to something devious, and I think that it's right to question it.
Well, I mean, there's
if
no
you're
question
scared
that
of-
some
if
of
you're
them are
scared
going to
of-
use it in that fashion.
If you're scared of being doxxed by a woke 20-year-old skinny retard at an Antifa thing, you need to find a different job. You're not cut out for law enforcement. You're just not.
Well, I mean, you could say it's that they're just not qualified or just not cut out. I mean, not qualified, but you said just not cut out for it. But if you're out there and you're thinking about continuing this job and there's already an app that's set up try to locate and find where these ICE agents are in the
How
first
many
place,
ICE
that's
agents
already
have
setting
been
up for a
hunted
plan
down?
of attack.
How many ICE agents have been hunted down at their homes and had something bad happen?
I don't know the numbers. I'm sure it's happened at least
I don't think
a couple.
any. At their home, they've been hunted down and tracked from the doxing.
I have not seen anything that would say yes yet.
I'm not entirely convinced that this is actually a real threat, and I'll tell you why. Because on X, another thing that's on X from Department of Homeland Security is them several posts they made talking about how the cartels are putting out hits on ICE agents and looking to hire hitmen. One of them even included the prices that they were paying for different things. Now, if that were really a threat, DHS should arrest itself for conspiracy for putting out the help wanted ads for the cartel. It's craziness. I think it's propaganda, and they're trying to skew public opinion to support the ICE agents, for even though they're looking bad.
I think they should be able to wear masks. I think they should be able to. They should be able to cover their identity, protect themselves. They're in a line of duty that means that their life is already at stake. So why add to it?
So I think these are people. These are people who are potentially engaging in. These are people who are potentially engaging in extremely illegal activity, and when a competent administration returns, these people are probably going to be charged, and that's why they're hiding their fucking faces.
Well, you say that, but that's probably because that's the kind of thing that you would do if you had the power. You can't just put that on people. Like, Ryan, you can't sit there and say that these people, certain people want guns. You know, gun owners are bad because they want to shoot people. That's not what gun owners want to do. They want to shoot targets or deer. But you're putting out what you think they would do with the guns. You're going like, you might as well go out there and go, if I had a gun, I would just go shoot somebody. But, you know, not everybody that owns a gun wants to do that. So you're saying like, oh no, ICE agents are dangerous because one or two of them like smack some guy around. That happens with police officers too. It's a line of duty where people that are fucking bullied throughout school their entire life, they'll go into that job so that they have some kind of power in their life. And that happens a lot. So I'm not saying that anybody's innocent, and it doesn't just mean you're innocent just because you're in that work. But
it's also a numbers game. So, like, it's only a matter of time before you encounter that situation.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time before you're going to find somebody who's going to want to use that position to do something bad.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them are. I just think, you know, if you are scared to do your job, you're in the wrong job.
Pretty much.
Full stop. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
And also, it's a pretty good indicator, not perfect, but it's a good red flag. If you're scared, if you think that the public at large is going to be mad at you for doing your job, if you need to camouflage yourself so that people aren't mad at you, maybe you're doing the wrong thing.
I just don't see that being the case. There's too many situations where these people are using traffic cameras to get pictures of the cops while they're driving, and not the cops, but even ICE agents. They're using every like publicly available way to get a photo of the people. You know,
good.
Like,
if should be identified.
What are they doing?
If I was following either one of you guys around, and I was taking your picture every chance I got, and getting your real name, and then, you know, putting that out there for other people to go to your house, you know, it's only a matter of time before some psycho ass motherfucker finds
law enforcement
an ICE
has
agent.
Different standards. They're held to a higher standard, as they should be. They're public servants. They're authorized to use violence, and because of that, they should be identifiable.
I mean, in what way? Like, if they're going to identify them strictly for the purpose of threatening them or trying to attack them?
At all, personally identifiable. Just like when you get pulled over, you can ask the cop for their name and badge number. It should be like that for everything.
Yeah, but if you're a political figure, if you're like a mayor or a...
Can you guys believe Rob already rage quit?
And judge and all that.
What a fucking loser.
So
what a fat,
use your plate
pathetic
to find your real
fucking
home address.
Loser.
That's a way to hide where you're living. These
that's fine. Just because some people do it doesn't mean that everybody needs to do it. Judges are not running around with AR-15s, kicking in doors and arresting people. It's a whole different thing. They are held to a higher standard, and for good reason. They should be.
Yeah, but again, SWAT agents are kicking down doors and putting people in jail. SWAT agents do it. SWAT agents can wear masks, and nobody's ever raised a red flag about that.
That's whataboutism. Well, nobody's ever asked me. You think... I got opinions on. I got opinions on those people.
Well,
too.
Dusty, that's why that's never come up. Is because nobody's come. You know, right. Nobody was me.
Yeah.
Well, would you two gentlemen like to have a quick discussion about that? Bring up the panel.
Also, thank you, Jen.
Hey, I'd like Rob to be able to talk. He's over there just hosting the show.
Rob rage quit because he's a fucking baby. He's a big fucking baby who wants to use the military on U.S. citizens because he's a coward, a pathetic loser who's going to sit in his chair and cheer it on while the military assaults U.S. citizens, which is what he wants. Fucking coward. Pathetic.
I don't even know if he can hear us. I would like him to be able to chime in, you know? I do a one-on-one with you two. You, Ryan, and
I'll
Ryan
sit back
and
if you want to one-on-one
R&R.
Dusty, or if you want to one-on me, whatever.
I would like
Yeah,
to be with
we're-
Rob.
I'm not going to
drop
run or
him.
rage quit like Rob, because I'm not a
Why
fucking
don't,
baby.
yeah, you should just drop Rob if Rob's not going to participate because
Yeah, if he doesn't want to be here, I mean, like I'll talk to
it.
Rob. I don't care. I'll sit back and listen while he talks. I'll even mute myself. Like, but if he's gonna be a baby,
Just
then
drop him.
That's what he's doing.
how much
I'm going to ask him in this chat. Can he hear? I'm going to ask him. Can you hear us, Rob? He can't hear us.
he shows up with this kid screaming, and then he mics down and starts talking to his chat. He's not here anyways.
Yeah, I'm seeing the same situation. And in a minute, it'll be you guys versus
All right,
me and
Rob.
Nova.
You know what? this might get his attention though. If you want, I just released a new short we could play.
Oh,
What is
Well,
it?
let's talk. I mean, before we
What
get into
is
the
it?
shorts. Okay, go ahead.
Hold on.
Well, hold on. Also, we got a couple of new donations.
Give me a second. Give me a second to grab it, and I'll throw it backstage
Sure.
so you can take a look at it and decide what you want to do.
So, Rude Motocrab says, "Who is the moderator for $5?" That'd be Nova Star over here. She's
Star.
she's the moderator. She's all
Hi.
pretty in pink
She's
over
also
there.
currently serving as Rob's replacement since he ran away.
I guess you could say that.
Aren't you excited?
I mean, I'm not worried
No,
because
I
I don't think Trippy really understands the Insurrection Act. I don't know how. I don't know. Maybe you do, Nova, but Rob clearly wasn't interested in having the conversation. So.
A little bit. My sleeping has been pretty bad lately with everything I've been doing, so I'm pretty tired. But like, okay, sure. Is Rob paying attention at all? Like, what is going on?
Yeah, he's doing his own
He's
show.
just talking to his guy. He's just doing his own show right now.
Sean Whelan also dropped $1.99. He says, by definition, terrorists, Antifa, end quotes, are scary.
Correct.
I mean, they are labeled a terrorist organization by the current administration, but that's kind of vapid because, I mean, what organization are they labeling a terrorist organization? Like, what?
Honey,
what citizens-
I had somebody deported from the UK for doing less than what they were doing. Me.
What the fuck does that have to
personally.
do with the question I asked? With all
It has everything to do with it because it's
What's the
considered a
organization in
terrorist
real life?
act. It's under a terrorist act. Anytime
you got somebody deported for doing something illegal. How does that mean Antifa?
Anytime anybody on our soil, even if they're a citizen, but in my case, that time it wasn't. But if they are a citizen and they're doing those things, they're terrorizing our own people. They're breaking laws.
Okay, and it sounds like
You
the law
realize
handled
that,
it in
right?
your case, not because an organization was doing it, because some.
But they're
individuals
not
were doing
handling
right?
it anymore. That's
But you're
the point.
you're just wrong. Like the police are arresting people. They're
No,
charging.
I'm not
people.
wrong. No, I'm not
They-
wrong.
they literally
don't,
are.
They don't enforce the laws. They know they
I mean,
don't enforce
you're
the
just
laws.
wrong. Maybe you don't know this,
They're
but they are.
enforcing
Like
laws
I don't know where
now,
you're hearing
but they
this,
weren't at
but the
all.
laws are being enforced. Actually,
It's
Police
called
are arresting people. Police are charging
yeah,
people.
Selective. Yeah, selective enforcing, like selective.
people who are
hearing,
attacking
right?
ICE officers are being arrested if they're caught doing it.
Sure, some of them. I know that, but not all.
And
of
if they get away, then they're being
The
tracked
laws
down.
are
Not all of
Almost
them.
certainly.
Get your butt
Anyway.
back here, Robert.
Always and everywhere.
Come on back, homie.
Yeah, that's it's a little on the rude side, but
Come on back. He popped
He's
us up on the screen for a
probably-
sec.
He's just
he
throwing a
probably
tantrum.
got
It's fine.
busy.
Yeah, because I mean he's
Maybe
muted
he's-
in the StreamYard so he can
Maybe he's
talk
got
on his channel, but
donations
it's
coming
fine.
through or something.
does.
Yeah.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah. We should get more donations over here. We can donate. I mean, you guys can donate. There's another one. $10. Blaster Bot. He says, let me pull it up so it doesn't go off my screen. He says, dishonest lefties like, oh, Ryan, you might have something to say at the end of this one. Dishonest lefties like Ryan are why conversation and debate are useless. But thank you for driving the point home. I will continue with this lesson in mind.
So I asked, what is the dishonesty that I've brought up? What I've brought up over and over, what I've explained countless times now, is that the Insurrection Act is a very big deal. It's an extremely, it is a major deal. And the reason it's a major deal is because it means the military on the ground enforcing civilian laws, right? This is something that does not happen very often, okay? This happened. Last time this happened was in 1992 during the LA riots. And there were 60 people dead, thousands of buildings on fire, thousands of people had been injured, and the police were literally incapable of doing their job. The other example was the governor refusing a federal court order. Nothing like either of these is happening right now, and you, Trippy and Rob, at least, to Trippy's credit, he obviously doesn't understand much about the Insurrection Act, so I don't hold it against you as much, but Rob clearly does, and Rob is still defending this while he sits on his ass, and he's going to cheer it on as things escalate in the United States, and he doesn't give a shit about the legality of it, because like a lot of these courts are actually making rulings that are saying, hey, ICE is overstepping, ICE is assaulting journalists, ICE is doing this and that, and these are things that are happening on the ground right now, and of course it's going to cause more protests, of course it's going to cause more unrest, but police are arresting people who are doing violence. That's happening. The system is working. There is no justification to invoke the Insurrection Act. And even if Trump did, there is already precedent for challenging it. But like he doesn't have carte blanche to do it he can do it, but it can also be challenged immediately. Okay, so and for good reason, because the facts on the ground don't support doing it.
Trippy. Response.
Hang on, I was opening a pill bottle for Mom.
Okay.
I have no idea what was said. I was struggling like a 2-year-old trying to open a child's
God.
cap.
This is
I'll
getting
try to put, because I am emotional. Let me.
That's all right.
But
I'm not gonna.
I think this is. I was emotional in my opening as well, but for a different way. The laws are working. The bureaucracies are happening. The courts are making rulings. Okay, people are being arrested. People who are assaulting ICE officers are being arrested. People who are protesting are not, even though they are oftentimes being assaulted. We saw Illinois congressional candidate Kat Abu Ghazala being thrown on the ground. This 5'1" tiny-ass Palestinian woman being thrown on the ground 3 separate times by ICE agents. We've seen them pepper spraying into the vents of people wearing
this debate, killing it.
Well, hold up, Rob. I wanted.
Oh, he finally came back.
There? Are you there?
I didn't. That was muddled. I couldn't hear him.
He said
he passive aggressively said we're doing a good job.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah. It's all right. It's all good.
Drop the fat boy.
Funny.
All right. Well, you know
I'm for
what?
dropping the fat boy.
Well,
I should say
I was
something
going to
like.
ask if Ryan and Rob wanted to have a turn.
I mean, yeah,
I wanted that too, but it doesn't look like Rob wants to be here.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
he doesn't. Like
I would cut him loose.
He's
just being a dick at this point.
Yeah, and I'd like to have him here. I really would. But if he doesn't want to be here, he doesn't want to be here.
I'm indifferent, but if Rob wants to come back, I'll mute for the next 5 minutes and I won't interrupt him.
I get that. I just don't know if he can even hear that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
Well, that's his fault, not mine.
Yeah. No.
I would drop the fuck out of him.
I know, but I wanted to give him, give this a good chance.
He's getting fatter.
I called him fat. I called him fat in my own. I called him fat to my own chat, and I regret it. Like, I don't want to fat shame.
Nova, whose dick do you think is bigger?
Mine.
You can already tell.
It's like this big. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, what happens when you get bigger?
Yes, dear.
When you get bigger, your Johnson gets smaller. It's harder to see, and it's literally smaller. But you got to put on a lot of weight for that. You got to be like
Same
400
with
pounds.
Boobs.
So I would really like to have with Ryan, but
Ryan would have to keep.
Did you see the thing I put backstage?
I would love to ask him, Cody, but I can't.
Throw that
I don't know
first.
exactly what you mean. Chicago had palm trees. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, you go ahead and take care of that. I can't control none of it.
I know. I'm sorry. I should have set you up for that, but I didn't foresee it. Here, we'll drop a little screen share up in there and drop and go, and we'll play it. We'll listen to it.
All right, let's do it. I got a few donos.
All right.
On. You want to read them?
Sure, you want to go before I play it or after?
Yeah, let's give him an opportunity to read his donos.
I hold myself to a higher standard, Josh, but I appreciate you.
You
Not really, Monkey. Rob's demonstrating what a fucking loser he is right now.
How dare you do this worse than me? Okay, go ahead.
I mean, I'll consider this a W. Like, he literally ran
$10. He says, Rob is being a big baby bitch. I hate that I agree with him because of his behavior. He is just refusing to engage in the debate. That's correct, because he's a pussy.
He's running.
And
he
he's
wants
an
to
alarmist. And for whatever reason, he's chosen the position is to further expand the political divide in this country. And so he is married to the side of panic. Orthodox guy
you can
says
call it
another
bad faith,
5. He
whatever.
says,
I
I'm
think
glad
Rob's
I
acting in
didn't
bad faith,
actually
so
bet on
we can have the
this.
conversation
I
or not.
agree
He's the
with
one who ran.
Trippy and Rob, but Rob is a baby back beach. Mike 23 sends in $10. He says, Rob, if you come back, I'll give you 2 years free food from Burger King. That might be a hefty bill, Mike. Be careful what you sign yourself up for. All right, I got them all. Thank you, guys.
What a coward, dude. What a coward.
I forgot to unmute. Absolutely no problem. We got this here video that you sent us there, Mr. Dusty. Yes. What?
Rob fans, support the stream. Support the stream.
You
Support
said
the dream.
trippy like that. I was like, is my camera on? I'm gonna scare everybody away if that's the case.
What's up, Kevin Invincible?
Where
Apparently he
did the
can.
damn
Apparently he's
video
setting
go?
new records. Why is he?
I know I have it pulled up.
Why is like Rob? If I mean, I guess he can't hear me, but Rob, like, if you don't want to be here,
There
then
it is.
don't be here. Like, I mean, I like,
Yeah, that will be taken care of soon. I consider it disrespect, and you know, we try to. Whoops.
I guess I could go and see what he's talking about.
he's
On this channel.
according to my chat, he's openly saying he's done with the debate and that he's never going to be on a panel with me. He's going to leave anytime I'm on a panel. So he is literally rage quitting the debate and future rage quitting debates with me, which is hilarious.
Hey.
Gosh.
Future
I
rage
just
quitting.
and you know
All
what?
right.
I just got banned from his channel for life last week. So.
Let's
He's a
hit the play
dramatic
button.
little fuss baby.
The left is the only party of violence. Only the left uses violence. Only the left commits violence. Only your side, or only the other side's violent. Only the left commits violence. Only the Democrats use violence. Only the left commits 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 violence.
All violence occurs on the left wing. Only violence occurs on the left wing.
The only group that engages in violence is the left. I will no longer associate with anyone who does.
For a minute, I thought him and EOD had the same exact voice. Like, I'm not convinced. This is AI, guys. It's AI. It's AI.
I just want to read a super chat from my end. Orthodox guy comes in with a $10. Says, "Congrats on your victory. Thank you, Orthodox guy, for the $10, and I will enjoy this victory. Thank you, Dusty, for the assist. I mean, I think we did fantastic. And again, throughout the night, my opposition, including Rob, who's obviously rage quit.
Out of that fat boy.
My opposition, who has committed himself to rage quitting from any future panels where he might find himself next to me because he's such a big baby coward. He will never be able to demonstrate that there is a governor right now refusing a federal court order, like what happened in Little Rock, and the police are incapable of arresting people and carrying out their duties, which they are doing on the ground. They are arresting people, and ICE is also carrying out their duties, and they bragged about it on DHS. They bragged about how they deported 1,500 people in the past month, and Rob denied that even happened, which is hilarious because DHS is bragging about it. So which one is it, Rob? I don't know. He'll never be able to demonstrate that there's justification right now for invoking the Insurrection Act based on previous precedent. It would only be massively lowering the bar and setting a very dangerous precedent for the rest of American history, which I don't want to see as an American. Maybe Rob thinks it'll be funny or whatever while he sits in the street and watches the military be deployed on U.S. citizens. I don't think it'll be funny. I think it'd be absolutely terrifying. And I don't want to live in that country. Apparently Rob does. So.
Well, I mean, I think it would be funny.
You're admitting that.
Hilarious.
Hell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I'm not just saying random U.S. citizens. I dropped Rob. Well, it looks like he did stay here. Is he still?
Oh, good.
Can you hear us, Rob?
I'll stay
He
muted
said
for a
1
while.
minute. He's
All right.
back.
I think Powdered. I think he likes the more slow roll method, so it doesn't incite the public to riot. I think is what he's just trying to say. But
Yeah.
Hold on.
there's-
Let's bring
the
Rob
right
in
way
for
to
a
know
minute.
this.
Now-
He's here.
We're going to just do like timed, like I get 2 minutes or 5 minutes, then someone else. That's how we're going to do it?
If we would like to, yeah, I
if
think
that's
so.
how you guys want to swap
Sure.
to it, sure.
Uninterrupted.
All right. Just 2
Uninterrupted.
minutes will be fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
So first, I just want to say to Trippy and Noah, I am sorry. Even Dusty, I thought our back and forth was doing good. But Ryan clearly has a lot to say, and I didn't want to be in a position where people didn't get his opportunity to say, to hear what he has saying. Clearly, he has a lot of great stuff to say,
dude.
and so I just wanted to make sure that people had the opportunity. Jake Rattlesnake, thanks so much for rating me, man. Apparently, I might be doing the show next week, and the ShamWow guy might be coming on. So I wanted to take this time, seeing as how clearly everything Ryan's saying is unassailable.
Bro, he's here to advertise.
To quote my favorite ShamWow commercial, he says, "Hi, it's Vince with ShamWow. You'll be saying wow every time. It's like ShamWow. It's like a towel. It's like a sponge. A regular towel doesn't work wet. This works wet or dry.
My nuts.
This
Did they
is for the
hire
house,
you or
the
something?
car, the boat, the RV.
know.
ShamWow holds 12 times its weight in liquid. Look at this. It just
I know.
does the work. See that?
I'm-
Most
How much
towels.
do you get paid for that?
Let me know when my 2
Rob.
minutes is up. ShamWow leaves
Almost.
it dry.
You're taking
gonna
2 minutes to do a
spend
ShamWow.
$20
Hold
every
on.
month.
I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
let him
Very
go.
telling, right, guys?
I was gonna let you go.
No, it's,
Here,
if the 2 minutes is up, it's up. That's no problem.
I know.
Just go ahead and give me a signal
it's-
when my 2 minutes comes back up. That'd be great.
I don't have hands.
So does
Um,
anyone
No,
need to
I
respond
know
now?
Larry.
I'll do it.
Yeah,
Wait,
this,
I
I do
this
have a
is
way to do something.
So
I appreciate it.
I'll respond
I'll
to the
just-
ShamWow guy. Yeah. So
Look,
again,
I want to do this. I want to put you
Just
and
let me know
Ron.
when it's my turn again. I'll
would
sit
like to
patiently.
put-
No, but just give me a signal. I'm sorry, I won't interrupt. I know you have a lot to say, Ryan. Go ahead.
Well, Ryan, what would you like to say to Rob? You got your
yeah.
2
So
minutes.
I challenge Rob to just illustrate some example of a governor who is refusing federal court orders, like what was happening in Little Rock. I challenge him to demonstrate that law enforcement is not capable of carrying out their duties, which they are doing in all these different cities. I challenge him to demonstrate that ICE is incapable or is being obstructed in any meaningful way when they are bragging. The DHS is bragging about doing 1,500 arrests in the last month in Illinois alone. I don't think he can support this. I don't even think he's actually listening right now. It looks like he's talking to his chat. So I'll yield my time to Rob.
All right. So he was talking to his chat.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang.
What's going on, y'all?
Oh my God.
Maybe we should just break this down to a one-on-one between Rob and Radical, and we can have Nova go up there, and he can.
I think that
She
you
can
need
be-
to. I think that you need to take a look at the situation and go, you're getting dunked on and disrespected like a motherfucker, and Rob's not debating anybody. He's just sitting
that's
here
why I
being a
brought him
fat
back
douchebag.
up. See what was going to happen. I mean, you two did a good job, but I'm thinking like if I could get Ryan and Rob up there, and they can have their complaint fest or argument or however. I know Radical's raring to go. I know Rob could be raring to go if he decided to actually be part of this.
Yeah, no, he's not though. That's what it's.
I know. Like, hey, man, we were getting into a good little thing between us. Well, I don't know. How should I say this, Star?
Well,
You should kick Rob off the panel.
I would start.
I swear to God,
actually-
listen.
I would probably do, and then close it probably shortly after, unless somebody's going to take somebody's place.
Unless somebody's going to give me an extraordinarily high amount of money to drop Rob. That'd be great. It'll go to mom's medication. You guys out there,
I mean, it
can
would
help.
I think that we should. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
You
I think
do
that's
you.
off the
It's your
table.
stream.
I
But
think that's off the table.
Oh, is my time up again? Ready for
Look,
the
I
rest of
want.
Made
what I
it
would like to
halfway
do,
through.
Rob, is what I would like to do is I'd like to have you and Ryan have an argument. But
Oh,
I'd also-
what can I say? Ryan's
Just
unassailable.
between you two.
No,
I'll
he has
put
so
you
much
guys-
to say. I wouldn't want to step on his time.
No, I'll put you guys both on screen.
No
Nova.
need. I wouldn't want to
No?
step on Ryan's time. If it's my time to talk, let me know. Otherwise, I just want to sit here and listen to Ryan. He's absolutely amazing. So, if it's my turn to speak, let me know. Otherwise,
you're
Ryan
going
can
to
go in
passive
here.
aggressively
Trippy-
crash out.
Trippy, I would be
like having
happy
you
to
there.
make it up to you and Nova Star to come on and talk to you guys. I'll raid over to your channel, everyone that's watching, no problem. But for now, everyone needs to be educated in the fantastic wisdom of Ryan. He clearly has so much to say. So I'll sit in the back until it's my turn to speak again. But go ahead. Just let me know when it's
What a bitch.
So
What
once
a
again,
crybaby.
I guess I'll respond once again. Rob, as you can all tell, is not engaging. He is not demonstrating that there is a governor who is refusing to follow a federal court order. He is not demonstrating that ICE is
Put
incapable
them up there
of
together
carrying-
one-on-one. Just see if
he's not demonstrating that ICE is incapable of carrying out their duties, or that the police are incapable or
He's
unwilling
not
to demonstrate to carry out their duties. He's not showing that the courts are not working. He's not showing there's anything comparable to the 1992 Rodney King riots. He's not showing there's anything comparable to the to Little Rock. He's just asserting that because of some bastardized standard of the Insurrection Act that he has engaged with by debating a bunch of left-wing streamers, that he can now invoke the Insurrection Act based on that standard, I guess, which is very silly. But if he doesn't want to engage, I mean, that's on him. Like, I think it's a bad idea, and I think it's very clear it's a bad idea. It's going to be, as Dusty was explaining very well, it's an escalation, and we're obviously going to see escalation. There's going to be more and more people who are protesting. There's going to be more and more people who are potentially even breaking laws in their protesting or even engaging in violence. And the police will likely continue to crack down on that, as they have been, thankfully, because they are able to do their jobs. So we don't need to invoke the Insurrection Act and send the military onto
them
U.S.
up
cities.
together.
Stop.
Let him up
Okay,
together.
I'm taking
He's not
off.
listening
Thanks for
again.
having me.
Wait, no. Why?
Oh, bye, Flo.
We're not
Thanks
gonna
for
be
coming,
doing this.
honey.
I'm not
Thanks,
gonna
Rob.
because Rob's punking all of us, and he's trolling and he's being disrespectful, and I don't know
know.
why any of you are still taking it.
I was
seriously.
trying to be as fair as possible. That's the truth.
Coder, who's in Speakeasy's chat, I see you there, bud. Look, man.
He's actually in the back too. He's been crying to come up, and I said,
ahead,
"I'll ask
bring him
Rob
up.
when he's done."
Bring him up. I'll give him 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay.
Hey, guys.
Now, Ryan, you goof, you think that I seriously was afraid to debate you, that you prepped hard this one time. That's your honest to goodness opinion of what happened there.
Well, he
No.
did prep. I
did prep.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
did a lot of
believe
prep.
you prepped. I believe you prepped. You said, I saw it. Someone sent me the clip of you on
Yeah.
Dusty's channel, that your feeling is that I saw that you did prep and was looking for an out.
I think there is something to that, but I don't think it's the main reason you left.
I mean, come on. Do you really think? I hope you prepped. I love debating people. I love debating people that are fucking beating me around on topics. With you, it'll never happen. For
Well,
two
I have
reasons.
one question.
Because you're not
Sorry.
capable, and second, because you're not going to get the chance. But you know, neither here nor there.
Which section of the Insurrection Act do you want Trump to invoke?
boy.
It was 252, the one I read in my opening statement. Remember?
So 253 probably, then, is what you mean?
I can't remember the specific one I read in my opening statement. Doesn't matter. Your partner already conceded that legally it can be invoked. So the legality of it's not important. What matters is the morality of it, or the practicality of it, which, yes, I think the fact that we see violence against federal officers means that if the police there are unwilling or incapable of defending the federal officers, that absolutely we should send in people from the National Guard to protect them. Once you concede the legality, what's it matter what section I want to invoke?
Well, the
Now the
legality
only
is.
argument-
Sorry. I'd say the legality of it is kind of disputable, because it's not something that is that can't be reviewed by courts, right? So even if Trump does it, the circumstances by which, the standard by which he's invoking it, still can be reviewed.
Well, sure, they can. But it doesn't matter. Your partner conceded the legality of it. You could have disagreed, but for the purposes of
I
me,
do.
in that point where we left off in the debate, your side had conceded the legality. I still think, in fact, there was a ruling today, which was the point you were interrupting me on when I got frustrated. There was a ruling today that stayed the court's order that said that Trump couldn't send him, and now we have National Guard troops on their way to Portland. As I told you would be the case. It's clear cut that they're going to win that legal case, that he has the right to do this.
But not to, National Guard's not going there to enforce local laws, right?
Well, I believe they're going there to protect, right, the federal troops. And part of that could be the enforcement of local laws if the people are breaking the laws in ways that don't directly attack federal troops, but are setting up things that would be dangerous for people that are supporting ICE, or for the transportation and the entrance exit into ICE facilities. For example, if they
Potentially.
decide to blockade a street, you would say, well, that's not National Guard's job to arrest them. But it is if they think that it's going to be an incoming second-degree threat to the people that are there to enforce the federal law, ICE. So, and the other thing is, I would have asked you, right? You said, well, when this was last invoked, like Rodney King, am I right? It's the last time it was invoked,
92,
right?
yep.
You said that it resulted in a bunch of deaths, correct?
Before it was invoked. Before it was invoked, there were 50 plus people had been killed. There were or unalive. Sorry. There were there were 1,000 people who had been injured, 1,000 buildings had been burned, and the police were literally incapable of executing the laws. So that was a very particular circumstance. That clearly isn't going on right now, right?
So I misunderstood, but if you would have said that, I would have said, great. Then after it was invoked, did the damage continue, or was it precipitously declined?
I imagine that it was fairly quickly controlled. But
so then what was the harm?
Yeah.
What was the harm of sending those troops in?
I'm not saying there was harm in 92 riots.
Okay.
I'm not arguing whether or not it was justified to invoke it in 92. Right.
Okay, so then the question would be, you don't really have a reason that practically, or it would be bad, that it would make the situation worse. You're just making a legal claim, which to me, it seemed like your opponent had already conceded, which you'll admit, he conceded the legal argument.
So I'm making two parts, right? I think legally it's dubious, to say the least. I don't think most of the conditions. I think a lot of legal scholars view 253 as being in context of 252. A lot of people have been critical of how it's of the vagary of it. In fact, something we would have gotten into if we were debating longer is that 253, if read, just 253 section 2 specifically, would be if read just on its face, would allow basically the president to invoke the Insurrection Act to send the military to even like two people conspired to break federal law, which I think even you would acknowledge is kind of a ridiculous bar for invoking.
Well, I mean, it depends. Now, here's the problem, right? You would imply that the Insurrection Act could be used to quell insurrections, correct?
Sure, but that's kind of a semantic.
How did they argue? How did most lefties argue what the definition of insurrection was?
I mean, I agree with the Colorado Supreme Court or whatever with the insurrection, the way they characterize it. I think it's a reasonable standard for one.
How did
but I don't know if that's the same. Yeah, you're saying an assemblage of people who's trying to block federal procedure from being carried out. But I don't think the Insurrection Act is just like if there's an insurrection in any way. When you what you say in all of these debates that you've had about the insurrections, or the January 6th insurrection in particular, is that basically you're saying that it waters down the term, right?
Correct.
So, are you using the watered down you perceive as a watered down version to invoke the Insurrection Act?
I am invoking the standard that has been set forth by the Democratic Party. That's what I'm invoking. The standard that said Trump saying fight like hell was engaging in an insurrection. That's they've won the argument as far as I'm concerned. So now that they want to attack federal ICE with impunity, absolutely we should invoke the Insurrection Act to protect our federal agents that local police are unwilling to. And we have specific examples. We have in Illinois specifically two examples that I could think of. One, we have a stand down order, it seems, from police in protecting ICE agents as they were being rammed into with a lethal vehicle. That's number one. Second, we have orders from the governor. Sure.
Can we start with the first one? So the one you're talking about is where there was the armed woman, right? The allegedly armed woman?
Correct. But there were two incidents that day, allegedly. But yes, that was one of them.
Do you recognize that particular incident? There's a lot of dispute about the nature, like the police, apparently police audio and witnesses dispute the official narrative of that event.
Well, the audio seemed to not dispute it. I think that they have since post hoc said, wait a minute, there were time delays and shit like that with the audio, correct?
I'm not 100% sure. I read it like shortly after it all happened, so there may have been updates that I'm not privy to, but my understanding is that there was disputes about like even potentially who even hit who.
Right. Well, I think that it's clear to see that if there is a call going out, that there is someone who is armed, and there's a claim that law enforcement's claiming they are ramming into us and surrounding us, that local law enforcement should respond. Would you not agree with that?
Well, it's very interesting you point out that she was armed, because are you aware that her firearm never left her purse?
So
how'd they even know she was armed until later?
It doesn't. I guess let's put it this way: we found out post hoc she was armed. So I guess
exactly.
Okay, nonetheless, if I'm imagine this. Imagine that I'm sitting here and I'm from the my county's police department, and I'm on duty in my cruiser, and I hear the state police say, "We're being rammed into. Someone send help." And I'm like, I don't know who's ramming who.
Well, I don't think that's what happened, right? I don't think that's what happened.
My understanding. Oh, go ahead,
Brian.
This person got shot and went to the hospital. Sorry, Trippy. Go ahead. Yeah.
When we were on Sarah's podcast and you were sitting there with who was the other guy that was arguing that when January 6th went down and that woman got shot in the neck, it was like, the biggest deal about that was her having a knife in her pocket. Like, you guys are going to say that her having a knife in her pocket.
That was Latavian stuff. But I mean, I was saying that like what she was doing, she was breaking into, basically there was a very thin area between her and the Congress people, and she was breaking in, would have been the first one through that window, and obviously there would have been a lot more people piling through if she hadn't been stopped, for better or for worse.
But Latavian brings up the knife, and you didn't have any argument against that, but now you're saying that the gun never left this woman's belongings, never left her purse, and they just shouldn't have shot her.
Well, I didn't
This is what we got.
I didn't say they shouldn't have shot her.
Now, granted, Ryan, I know you know this, right? I just searched this, right, using AI, right? But it does have what it claims to be audio. So take this with a grain of salt, and I'll later look into my audience to make sure this is correct. But it says, audio evidence suggests Chicago Police Department computer-aided dispatch, also known as CAD, message that explicitly instructed officers not to respond to the incident, effectively ordering a stand-down. This occurred amid tensions between federal agents and Chicago's sanctuary city policies under Mayor Brandon Johnson's and Government Pritzker. Details of the audio log. The CAD message, time-stamped around 12:34 on October 4th, 2025, was sent by Chicago Police Department's Chief of Patrol and stated, quote, "Please, Chief of Patrol, no units will respond to this as related from October 4th, 2025, 12:34. Caller is one of approximately 30 armed patrol agents ICE who are being surrounded by a large crowd of people requesting CPD." This was reviewed by Fox News and other outlets, confirming it directed officers to ignore calls for assistance from the 30-plus federal agents who reported being trapped under threat. CPD sources described this as a deliberate non-response, accusing the department leaders of misleading the public by later claiming officers were only there for traffic control. Your response?
What was their justification for refusing?
They said that they were only there for traffic control and not to respond to things like that.
Wait, what do you mean? They were only there for... You're saying that's what the police department said?
Right. So insiders within the Chicago Police Department said, hey, we think we were told this because of the mayor and because their official response seemed to be like, no, our officers were only there to direct traffic, not to respond to things like that.
I mean, that may be true. Maybe that's... I don't know what the legal standard is for...
I mean, you don't see the problem with that?
It depends. I mean,
okay,
again, I don't know what... There might be... Hang on. There might be laws or other conditions that might make it the appropriate thing to do. I don't know the... Like, you're so certain that there's nothing that, like, it's all just bad faith. Like, they're just trying to stop ICE from being able to... They're refusing to protect ICE because they just, like, hate Trump?
Yes, when there are insiders within the Chicago Police Department, and reasonability tells us when their mayor and the governor are both going in this direction, that influenced their decision. It is beyond the pale to think that one law enforcement agency wouldn't respond to another agency putting out a call for help because they were being surrounded by vehicles that were ramming them. But let's assume you're right. Let's assume that for whatever reason, whether it be the way the law is written in Chicago or a lack of police presence, etc., that there weren't resources or there weren't allowed to be resources to respond to this. Is that fair? That's the point you're making?
I'm just saying I don't know. I'm saying I'm open to that being the case, and it doesn't seem like you are, and it seems like you don't know either.
Okay, but if it's not as I'm saying, then the only logical explanation would be either they're incapable of responding because they lacked resources, or there's some sort of law that doesn't allow them to respond. Can you think of any other reason why they wouldn't have responded?
I'm saying I'm agnostic to it. I just don't know why they didn't respond.
Okay.
I don't know
So
why they.
I've
Regardless, you're putting out some ideas of how it could, and I'm not pretending that I know the. I'm not saying that either of yours is wrong, yours are the only options. I'm suspicious those are the. I don't know. I'm just saying I'm agnostic because I don't know why the CP did this. The only reason that what I'm pushing back on is you seem to be asserting that the reason, and you seem to be very confident in this, is because they want to interrupt ICE or they want to refuse to protect ICE. I'm skeptical of that.
I've cited what is most logical. I've also cited what people within Chicago Police Department have assumed. However, what I'm also doing is saying, let me play devil's advocate and say the other side of it. The other side is they were justified not responding for one of two reasons. One, because there were certain laws on the book that meant that they couldn't respond. They were only allowed to do traffic. Two, they didn't have the resources to respond. I'm asking you, can you think of any other justified reasons? You seem to be unwilling or incapable of giving any of the reasons.
Well, what I'm reading right now... Okay, go ahead. I was going to say, right now I'm reading, CPD showed up for the crash and crowd safety, but stayed out of the federal immigration operation, consistent with jurisdiction and local state policy and ongoing legal scrutiny of federal tactics.
That's who made that statement? Like
from CBS News.
Okay, let me again say that the message said, this is not in dispute as far as I know, unless you have something to show. The actual transcript of the message says, quote, Please, Chief of Patrol, no units will respond to this as related to October 4th, 2025, 1234. Caller is one of approximately 30 armed patrol agents who are being surrounded by a large crowd of people requesting Chicago Police Department. In other words, the request wasn't come help us enforce immigration law. It was we are being surrounded. And we're requesting local police backup. So when they come out afterward, and when people within the Chicago Police Department say, we think we were told to stand down for political reasons, them releasing a statement to CBS later saying, oh, no, we responded. We just didn't help enforce immigration. That's not what this message says. This message says don't respond.
Well, actually, it doesn't say that. It says no units will. The phrasing there's a little weird, right? It could be like they just hadn't gotten a response from anybody at the moment. Isn't there kind of
it says no units will respond.
Yeah, exactly. As in they haven't responded potentially, or you could say they won't. Like you can read that in two different ways. You acknowledge that, right?
No. If they wanted to say they hadn't responded, it would say no units have responded, not no units will. Will is a statement of from present to future. I will do this. That means in the future I will do this. I haven't done this means I haven't done it in the past. You understand?
I could see it go either way, but again, also like, do you dispute that like people that CPD did show up
eventually, right? But when it could have been too late if people would have been killed, right? But eventually they did show up. Now the point I'm trying to make is even if they had good reason not to show up for the reasons I said, wouldn't that be more justification to get the National Guard there if Chicago police is unwilling or unable to aid ICE? I think so.
I mean, potentially, if they are actually refusing to enforce certain laws, but it just doesn't sound like that's the case here. Like, except for from your own speculation. Because again, it sounds like CPD actually did send people out there. It sounds like they did go. They did handle the crash situation. They just didn't engage in criminal and immigration enforcement.
I don't think it could be more clear based on the statement. I think that after the situation had calmed down, that they showed up when they were no longer needed is irrelevant. What matters is in the moment when the ICE agents thought that they were in jeopardy and they were surrounded, and they didn't show up then, and they were ordered to stand down. That's what the message shows. The other point that I want to make is we also have basically orders from the governor, straight from the governor's office, that says that ICE will not be allowed to go into places of judiciary in order to enforce the law. That is another bullshit law that suggests that they are actively engaging or protecting people from the law legally being enforced from federal authorities. Another reason to invoke the Insurrection Act.
But he's allowed to do that, right? Legally.
Who?
The governor.
I don't know. We'll see. But I bet that
we
the courts will also. I'm almost positive that Trump's allowed to invoke the Insurrection Act as well. So.
Yeah, potentially. And then both can be reviewed. And when they go to the Supreme Court, we might find out differently. But right now, this is the point we were getting on before the stream ended, right? Is that there's not federal court orders demanding that he not do that, right? Which is demanding that would be the
Pritzker. That's what demanding the governor does. I do not believe that there's been a federal court order demanding. I think that he will be allowed to do that, but the counter would be that Trump would be allowed to invoke the Insurrection Act, overriding that then.
Potentially.
Nonetheless, the question...
There might be other circumstances, right? Like when we talk about the Insurrection Act, again, a lot of legal scholars from both sides of the aisle as well, suggest that 253 should be considered in context of 252 because of the vagueness of the claim. But you're saying because it's been watered down by the left, you just don't care about that, right?
I think that Trump should invoke it, right? Because of this danger to federal officers and the fact that so many state governments in both Oregon and in Illinois are allowing these attacks against federal authorities. And I think that we should invoke this, just like it should have been invoked under the Chaz Zone, just like it should have been invoked under Black Lives Matter, because these lefties can't help but be violent. Nonetheless, I think that this little exchange here illustrates the fact that you think that I was leaving because you're prepared is laughable.
Well, I
might think that you might think, I don't think by any means that you've done embarrassingly bad, but the idea that I heard you and was like, Ryan's lied a little about the Insurrection Act. Like, Ryan, you know enough about me. I want you to be honest with yourself and for everyone for a minute. Do you really think I'm afraid to debate you? For real? After all the
apparently not. I mean, you're doing it right now. I'm glad you are too, you know. I said that at one point in time. I've gone back and forth. I've thought a lot about this, you know. I've spent a few days thinking about it. And ultimately, I do think that you were, look, I was frustrated when I came back because I spent 10 minutes behind while listening to you and Dusty go back and forth, and I didn't think. Look, Dusty, he did read it for the first time that day. I did not. Okay, and I was frustrated also because the very first thing you said in that debate was a lie, or at least you were mistaken in hearing my opening statement, because I very clearly, and I went back and checked the transcript and then I watched the clip. I very clearly say that the invoking the Insurrection Act is the one time that posse comitatus is the exception to posse comitatus, which would then have the military enforcing the laws on U.S. civilians. And you kept accusing me. You did it multiple times, right at the beginning of the debate, and then when we were going back, when it was getting heated, when we were going back and forth, you accused me of saying that it was that I said the only time that the feds can enforce the law, which is obviously a ridiculous thing that I would never say. So I was frustrated by all these things.
I may have been wrong about that. I will say I have it written right here. I will admit this, and this is no excuse, but you can't see these fucking lights.
I can't see, but I'll believe it was that you misheard.
See, it says Fed enforce. You see, that's this is not an excuse, and I'm not using it as an excuse, but I normally try to listen diligently and keep notes, particularly in the opening statement. I thought that's what you said, but my son was in the room playing with the dinosaur toy, and my dog was running around. So if we would have went back, it wasn't a big point. It was, you made the point, you were like, well, you don't know about this, and I said, I'm the only person who's read from it in this debate, the Insurrection Act.
Well, I didn't say, I never said you don't know, I said Trippy. And with peace and love, Trippy, I don't think you did a lot of research for that topic.
I wasn't able to, man. I was like,
I understand. I know you had a lot of stuff to deal with. So I was frustrated when Rob was like, oh, well, you'll get to have your 10 minutes, and I was like, with fucking Trippy, like Trippy doesn't know it. That was what I said there, right? I was like, he doesn't even know about the Insurrection Act again, which for whatever, like for good reasons or bad reasons, like I understand, but so I was frustrated that I was gonna have to do a 10-minute. I was willing to do 10-minute back and forth, and when you came back, I was ready to do the times, right? And if you go back and actually listen to what I said, there are some people saying that I started talking about January 6th and stuff. That's not true. The January 6th conversation came up way later, and in that, like right after your ShamWow commercial, I specifically pointed out the invocations of the Insurrection Act. I talk about the reasons and the symmetry breakers between now and then.
All right, so here's the last thing I'll say about it, right? The reason when Toasted was asking me, come back, I was going to say no. Except then my man Jake Rattlesnake rated me, and we'd just done an extravaganza, and we might have the ShamWow guy on. I can't go back at that point. The joke that I had where you're like, good, I'm glad you're quiet. I have more time to talk. That's it. Once you're going to run the joke that's like, fine, then Ryan, take all the time you need. I can't come back 40 minutes later, but I was like, well, this would be a funny time for a joke. So I came back and was like, yeah, you're right. Ryan's the best debater ever. I have nothing to say. So, but if I am given this 2 minutes, let me do a commercial for ShamWow. That was it. Now, is it a smart ass trolly thing to do? Yeah, it is.
I knew that.
But will you admit, Ryan, will you admit that you were talking over me in a frustrating way that led to me saying that?
Yeah, and I think we both were. To be completely fair, I think both of us were talking over each other in that exchange. And I think I was talking over you more, but I think we both were talking over each other.
Well, I was talking over you like I just did there. Like I say something like, yes, but, and then I let you keep finishing. You were talking over me, and I don't know. I don't know if this is true or what it is about your mic, but you sound like this when you're talking over me, and it's like I could barely hear myself think, and it's like, no, you're just fucking wrong. You're a crybaby, and you're just, and blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, okay, but anyway,
well, you are
wrong about that because and that's what you would say because you're a baby and you don't have proof of that. And it's like after that, and I deal with this all the time on the panels. And I was like, yeah, I don't know how to deal with it. I'm honest. Like, I'm a pretty good debater, but that's one thing I'm not used to. It's constantly seems to be like the thing. Ever since my last debate with Destiny, that's been the trope. People just yell over me the whole time. And so I figured, okay, I'll fuck all this. But I will say this, like, first, let me say, I do gotta go. I got a show to do myself. Trippy, I am sorry. I'll reach out to you. We'll get something done. Ryan,
all right.
I'm fucking... The way that it fell out is as follows. I'm so sorry, but I just don't want to interact with you for the foreseeable future. And I think that you'll realize in about a month's time or so what a fucking huge mistake that is. That's all I have to say about it.
You're the one declaring you're going to do it. How's that my mistake? You're the one just saying you don't want to talk anymore. I mean, that's fine. Because whatever, live your life, dude. But that's a weird thing
because I think that
to put on me.
Spurging out and how I put it in the talking over is going to be a mistake. That's how it ended up. We'll see. Now, I'm not saying that sometime in the future, 6 months from now, I won't change my mind. But at this point, I think you're starting to get a reputation for being someone who does that a lot to a lot of people. And I'm tired of dealing with debates with people like that. I think it's a shame because unlike a lot of people, I think you can formulate arguments, and I enjoy that. But it's not worth my time if it's just going to be Spurgfest. So at this point, I'm not interested, and I think it's going to be a mistake for you.
Okay, but you acknowledge that didn't happen tonight, right?
No, it did not.
Fizz in my cup, swimming good love. It was you at the club, miss your touch. Go again, baby, what's up? Nothing feels right, so let's mess up everything.